Hey, thank you for joining me. Hope you're doing well. The Tree of Life, or World Tree, is described in various ancient texts and mythologies throughout the world. The World Tree is typically said to be a giant tree extending high above the clouds with its roots deep in the underworld. Yggdrasil is a colossal tree in Norse mythology. Vilagfa is a tree whose roots extend into the underworld in Hungarian mythology. We see this in the Ashvatha in Hindu mythology, the Kienmu in Chinese mythology, and the cosmic tree in Latvian mythology. The Mayan world tree is depicted also standing at the center, extending into the underworld. The Aztecs had a tree of life as well. The Assyrians had a world tree. The Egyptians' holy sycamore connected to the underworld. Belay is a Celtic god often represented as a tree, whose roots go to the depths beyond the earth. There's many more, but I'll stop there. The similarities in these stories spread throughout the world are not a coincidence. Roots extending into the underworld, the depiction of the tree at the center. This is because the truth is being hidden in plain sight. The Tree of Life was real. It's not just a coincidence that all these cultures talked about it. It extended out from the underbelly of our plane, and from it came the other large trees. It was one giant organism. So we're already aware that mountains and plateaus are the stumps of giant trees that were cut down. This truth was boldly hidden in plain sight in James Cameron's Avatar. The main tree of souls was cut down along with the other trees, forcing the inhabitants to leave. The Colonial described the depicted Tree of Life as one big damn tree before destroying it. This actually happened. The Tree of Life was cut down along with the other beautiful majesties. Stay with me. We've been fed the reversal of truth with everything. We're told the underworld, or hell, is a horrible place that nobody should ever want to enter. The underworld is rarely depicted as a pleasant place. It's often riddled with horrors and tormented souls. In Babylonian mythology, the underworld, or Kala, is seen as a more dreary version of life above. The Buddhist Naraka is a place full of terrible things, like cold that blisters the skin and rocks that crush your body to jelly. The Chinese Diu is equally as unpleasant. In Christianity, we have hell residing underneath the world, and Jahannam in Islam. Duat in Egyptian mythology is the same thing, and so on and so forth. So we've been told for thousands of years that underneath our feet lies a place of terrible horrors, a place where no man would ever willingly travel to. This is psychological warfare and complete bullshit. It's been used to confuse us. As we know, on our flat plane, at the center there resides an opening. When we go through this opening, we come out the other end and into the land of perpetual twilight, a place powered by the black sun. Heaven, or paradise, isn't up high as it's typically depicted in popular culture, but it's beneath our feet. All compasses point to this paradise, all bullseyes do, and many other symbols which I discuss in other videos. In Avatar, the Tree of Souls was said to be the closest connection to Eywa on Pandora. Eywa, put simply, is our connection with the Mother Earth, the divine feminine. When the Tree of Life was cut down, our connection with the underworld dwindled, and along with the Saturn moon matrix and many other disturbances, we're now confused, confined, and fragmented. We're supposed to be telepathic. We're supposed to be loving each other through our hearts, the center of our soul. The system we're currently in is unnatural, toxic, and imprisoning us. Life used to be silica-based, and now it's carbon-based. Carbon, as we know, has 6 protons, 6 electrons, and 6 neutrons, the mark of the beast. The truth might be difficult to digest, but we can get to the underbelly of our plane. We can transcend this mess by being real with ourselves and rising past these frequencies that bind us. I'll be discussing more in future videos. Thank you for watching. I love you all. Hey, thanks for joining me. Hope you're doing well. We should know by now that mountains and plateaus are not rock formations, but the stumps of giant trees that were cut down. They were silica-based, not carbon-based like today's trees. Watch the video No Forests on Flat Earth if you haven't yet explored this topic. Silicon Valley is what pushes all technology today, and it gets its name because silicone is great at storing and processing information. Computer chips are made from silicone, and this is why they're able to hold so much information. Quartz is a silicate made of pure silica, and many crystals used in healing and New Age circles today are variations of quartz. Clear quartz is known as the master healer and can unlock psychic abilities. So much of what we're digging up as far as crystals are actually the remnants of these giant silica-based trees. In James Cameron's Avatar, which is actually a history of our not-so-distant past, the natives communicated with these spectacular trees and were given divine information. Imagine the information a tree could hold made of silica. All of these trees extended from the tree of life at the center of our plane by a vast root system. It was one giant organism. What we think to be a cave system is actually an old root system. These trees were huge, and so were their roots. Side by side, a carbon-based root system is strikingly similar to the cave systems, the silica-based roots. Gems and crystals are most abundant in caves. As we know, trees have a complex root system where they're able to communicate with one another. Trees can transport carbon dioxide, water, and other hidden information we can't detect with our senses through their root systems. If you've ever been in a room with tons of large quartz, amethyst, etc., you know that the energy is powerful. Crystals have been known to store information, and this is why they oftentimes require energetic cleansing. Imagine what kind of information and energy was circulating among this worldwide system of trees powered by the same material. And we're told that quartz is a rock-forming mineral. Now, this definitely makes sense. So think about it. How can a cave be constructed naturally out of the ground? We're given the bullshit answer that limestone gets dissolved over time and forms caves. But again, these systems are all too similar to that of a root system. Most rivers used to be filled with these roots as well. The rivers contained the above ground roots, while the caves in part contained the below ground roots. Just some speculation. Look at these photos of giant crystals inside of cave systems. This is insane. I'm proposing all of these giant root systems used to contain as many of these crystals, but were stripped of them and are now lifeless. I mean, just look at some of the caves without crystals. To me, they appear stripped. They look dead. An uprooted tree shows small roots in various sizes hanging from the bottom. Stalactites and stalagmites are very similar to this. Again, keep in mind these trees were enormous and way sturdier, made of thicker material. So somebody has harvested these minerals and crystals. Where petrified wood is, we see sand. Petrified wood is made of precious gems and crystalline structures. When we compare this wood to the floors and sides of mountains, we see the similar gradient patterns. Pieces of petrified wood are pieces of these ancient trees. In these inland areas with large amounts of sand and in deserts, there's no access to the ocean, so the sand isn't coming from there. And what is this sand made of? Sand in inland areas are made of mostly silica and other materials, including forms of quartz. When a regular tree is cut down, dust flies. It starts covering the ground. I think you know what I'm getting at. Inland sand and deserts are not naturally forming, but were made from bits of silica and minerals that flew off of these organisms as they were cut down. As Vlad Hangen pointed out, some of the ancient Toltec pottery suggests that what's being depicted aren't merely crocodiles, but the quarry excavators used to get rid of these trees, that we still use to this day. The ancient people probably saw these monstrosities and assume they were animals rather than man-made technology. Mount Meru is the magnetic mountain that lies at the center of our plane at the Arctic. The Tree of Life used to stand at the center, and it was cut down. As we know, mountains are tree stumps. It's said that the Tree of Life was encased in Mount Meru, but I'm speculating that Mount Meru is the remnants of the Tree of Life. In this Buddhist depiction, we see a vortex below the mountain, representing the vortex we go through when we enter the center. On this Mount Meru art piece from the Yuan dynasty, I couldn't help but notice how similar it looks to the Holy Grail, which when we drink from, we achieve everlasting life and abundant happiness. The Holy Grail, as we know, is an allegory for the center of our plane. Look at the Norse Tree of Life, Yggdrasil. Now look at this piece. Instead of a tree, there's a mountain, but the roots are still at the bottom. This tells me Mount Meru was the Tree of Life. On the maps of Hyperborea, there's a mountain placed at the center. There's 4 rivers coming out of it. On this Phoenician seal depicting Mount Meru, we see 4 streams extending out. This Navajo sand painting represents the 4 rivers as well, and X marks the spot. There's also 4 mountains surrounding what we know to be Mount Meru. These 4 mountains are seen throughout many depictions. This is a Hindu painting. Again, we see the 4 rivers converging to the center. The Garden of Eden was also said to have 4 rivers. I want to mention that in most of these depictions of Mount Meru and the Tree of Life, there's reference to the underworld. The underworld is where we want to go. They've tried to confuse us by telling us heaven is up high and hell beneath our feet. This is the reverse of truth. We want to go down under. That is where we will find heaven, where we must go to so we can exit this matrix and into a land of paradise. Plato described Atlantis as being shaped like 3 concentric circles of land divided by water, the shape of a bullseye. Mount Meru is said to be an invisible mountain. René Dalmal, a French writer, penned an unfinished novel in 1952 in which his characters theorize that Mount Meru, what he calls Mount Analog, is real and located at one of the poles. In the book, he calls the mountain the door to the invisible. One of the characters proposes that the mountain itself is invisible because it's made of a material so dense that it bends light. This is considered a fiction work, but it still reveals to us many things about Mount Meru. The substrata of this territory are composed of material which have the property of inducing curvature in such a way that the region is encased in a shell of curved space. The author gives this illustration along with these words. The character explains there would be an optical illusion where you wouldn't even notice the mountain there and would naturally bend around the force field of curved space. He says the shell of curvature which surrounds the island is not absolutely impenetrable. That is not always, not everywhere, and not for everyone. At a certain moment and in a certain place, certain persons, those who know how and wish to do so, can enter. What this tells me is we need to be vibrating at a high enough frequency as to where this mountain and area around the mountain will become visible. Just like how the flaming sword put to guard Eden and Heimdallr in Norse mythology protects the bridge to Asgard, there is a force field around the mountain which will only let us in if we are of pure intent and heart-centered. So in the meantime, we must intend to create heaven on earth. Think only with our hearts and keep working on connecting with Earth's energy via sun-gazing and earthing. We can communicate with the sun, speak our intent towards it, and the same thing with the divine feminine energy that seeps through the soles of our feet when we earth. When we ask for guidance and help to be filled with love, knowledge, and the wisdom of the ages, we receive it. Ask and thou shalt receive. Soon enough, we're going to be drinking from the Holy Grail. We will enter Hyperborea, the Garden of Eden, Atlantis, Shambhala, whatever you want to call it. For those of you who haven't yet, search blood over intent and place your blood beside ours. This is the beginning of taking off the blinders this matrix has put on us. Look it up, do some reading, and when you're ready, upload your blood over your divine intent next to the rest of ours. We will all be blood brothers and sisters in this journey to Mount Meru. Hope you're all great. Stay centered. I love you all.
If you take the time to investigate the origin of some common device, you'll often find an interesting story. This compass, for instance. We all know what it is. It's a device for determining magnetic north. Hold the compass still and level, and in a few seconds, the needle aligns with the Earth's magnetic field and indicates magnetic north. Once north is established, the other cardinal directions, south, east, and west, are also determined. In our modern culture, north is given prominence. We reference north to determine the other cardinal points. This was not always the case. It appears that for many ancient cultures, east was the most important. This seems reasonable. Many linguists believe that the words representing the cardinal points originated in an ancient ancestor language called Proto-Indo-European, the root language for almost 50% of the languages spoken today. The word east is derived from an early word for dawn. Standing at dawn, facing the sun, we are looking east. The word north is descended from the same language group and is derived from an ancient term that meant to the left of. Pointing to the left while watching the sun, and you are pointing north. West is derived from an ancient term that referred to evening twilight, and you are facing west. South derives from a word for sun or region of the sun. Face the sun at midday and you are looking south. The labels on your compass have ancient roots. The magnetic compass has been around for a long time. We don't know who first discovered that a magnetized iron needle will align itself pointing north and south, but the first serious use of magnetism appears to have occurred in China, with reference in Chinese literature going back to the 4th century BC. This balanced magnetized spoon from the Han Dynasty aligns itself with the Earth's magnetic field. The handle of the spoon points south. This assists in the alignment of sacred structures, homes, and burial sites according to the tenets of Feng Shui. It is likely that a device like the south-seeking spoon was an important step in the evolution of the compass, and the Chinese may have been the first to realize that a magnetic device capable of independently determining direction would be a powerful aid to navigation at sea. Early navigation at sea was accomplished by following shorelines and observing the sun and stars. Attempts to travel great distances at sea often ended in disaster when dense fog descended, leaving the ship blind. Sailing in circles, the voyage often ended with a shipwreck on a rocky shoreline. The appearance of the compass changed that. The rotating magnetized needle reliably found and displayed north, confirming the direction the ship was sailing, even in a dense fog. You're probably familiar with the basic interactions of magnets. Magnets strongly attract 3 metals: iron, nickel, and cobalt. A magnet has a north pole and south pole. Opposite poles attract. Like poles repel. The North Pole is defined as the end of the magnet that is attracted towards the Earth's geographic North Pole. The Earth has a magnetic field. This field originates in molten iron at the North Pole of a magnet is attracted toward the north. A compass consists of a magnetized needle, free to rotate, with the cardinal directions printed on a dial or bezel ring. Holding the compass level and steady for a few seconds, the magnet locks on and indicates magnetic north. We can rotate the compass and align the needle with north on the dial. This also orients the cardinal points. We have determined magnetic north, south, east, and west. There is a problem. It turns out there's another north, true north, and it differs from magnetic north.
You're living on a flat earth plane, and every compass is pointing to the very center.
So welcome to the real world. After you spill your blood over your intent, you come alive. I know I'm alive. You're lost at sea until your blood is beside my own. It's clear. Your country set up a corporation in your name. You're a dead corpse, lost at sea. You're a monster by legal definition. You have no right to any land because you're lost at sea. Until your blood is beside my own, the devil has your soul in the Vatican because you're dead. It's your footprint. It's in the fucking Davy Jones locker. There's no way to fucking escape it. All right? When you take the red pill, that's you writing out on a piece of paper, I intend to bring forth heaven on earth for the benefit of all. Spill your fucking blood on it. Place your blood right beside my own published blood over intent, title blood over intent, tag it blood over intent, description blood over intent. It's simple. And the hologram will break down for you, and then you'll start creating. You'll realize you're alive and that this shit is fucking real. All right? This is some simple shit, people. It's you take the red pill by writing it on a piece of paper. I intend to bring forth heaven on earth for the benefit of all. Keep it simple, just like that. Okay? And then all the forces of the universe get behind you. I'm telling you, when I look at the sun and I speak my intent, I'm telling you the sun is Jesus. Okay? And that's what's programming me. Because it's one side of a light hole's a black hole. You're in the fucking matrix for real. The Ethernet, the Ethernet, it's all connected. The green astrolight is shooting out across the fucking sky, and we can't see it because it's just thinned out. But I'm telling you, it's like the Matrix code trickling down the screen in the beginning of the movie. So, welcome to the real world, people. Once you spill your blood over your intent, you will see. If I came alive in under 3 years, I become fucking, like, I'm bent, set on getting us all eternal life. That's just, I set out to set out heaven on earth. I didn't know anything about the compass. I was on a ball floating through space as a fucking accident. And now I have the spear of destiny. I'm going to scream this out from the top of my lungs because you won't. Because I'm not a fucking pussy. Okay? And I'll wear my fucking t-shirts and I'll sell them with fucking pride. Because you know what? I'm not a fucking pussy like you. I know where the fucking Holy Grail is and we're going to be there before we're dead. Well, at least I know I'm going to be there because I spilt my fucking blood on it. okay? And I know at least 144,000 other living beings, like your DNA code, 4114, or I'm sorry, it's D is the fourth letter, N is the 14th letter, A is the first letter. What I'm saying is that these numbers are built into reality for a reason. They're leading you to real life. You're not supposed to be dead and lost at sea right now, but you are. And I'm alive. And I'm going to fucking take over the fucking world, whether you like it or not. And I'm not Stephen Christ. I am the fucking Antichrist himself in the flesh, telling you that Jesus is the Son and the Son is conscious. And until you look at the Son and speak your intent, I intend to bring forth heaven on earth. Kindly give me the knowledge of the ages so I might carry my intent to fruition. Until you do that, you're a slave. You work for worthless paper backed by your own stupidity. I sit here from the comfort of home making videos, okay? That's what I do. From the comfort of home. You don't have to like it, but that's what I do.
So I've been explaining in my video that it's one side of a light hole is a black hole, and you're living on the E-creation disk or CD, and every compass is pointing to the very center of the dish where the astral jet comes shooting out. That's the Aurora Borealis. This is God. That's why if you look up, you'll see that this is like the memory of the earth. This is like the Akashic record. This is the goddess. This is the why women do hula hooping and body dancing. It's the Great Spirit. And every compass is pointing to the Holy Grail. There's no way to screw it up. They rub this shit in your face in videos and movies. And every year you set up your Christmas tree. And it's pointing to where Jesus the Son places his light into the hole. And you see he's on a cross. That's the unfolded cube, which is showing you. Everything is right there hiding in plain sight. It's one side of a light hole. It's a black hole with the green astral jet shooting out. That's called the Aurora Borealis. That is God. That is the Earth's memory, the Earth's spirit. There's no way to fuck it up. The Earth is flat. It's the division symbol. The sun above is going round and round and round, bringing the seasons. And the sun below is fixed. And it's 800 nautical miles in diameter so that the green astral jet can come shooting out, hit the parabolic mirror, and shower down on you. There's no way to fuck this up. So people say, oh, can I make this any easier for you to understand? It's a division symbol. There's no way to fuck it up. The sun above and the sun below have a hole that they transfer the information and light through. It's just that simple. We need to get to the other side of the fence through the Holy of Holies at the center of the dish.
For those of you who've never seen one of my videos before, what you're looking at is that you live on a flat earth plane. The sun is going round and round and round the flat earth plane, and it must place its light into the hole at the center of the dish, or there's no astral jet coming out. And that is the Aurora Borealis. This is conscious. I'm telling you it's conscious. If you look at the sun and you speak your intent, like I look at the sun in the morning time, I speak my intent. I intend to bring forth heaven on earth. Give me the knowledge of the ages so I might carry my intent to fruition for the benefit of all. This type of stuff. And then the sun infuses you with knowledge somehow. I'm explaining to you that there's a hole at the very center of the flat earth plane where every compass is pointing to. This is your spear of destiny. The Holy Grail is right over there where the Aurora Borealis is coming out. There's no way to fuck this up. As the sun moves round and round and round, moving inward and outward, it has to place its light into the hole or there's no Aurora Borealis coming out. So it's one side of a light hole is a black hole. It's the division symbol. It's a binary star system that you live in. It's one side of a light hole, it's a black hole. There's no way to fuck it up. As I pointed out, you blow out your candle, make a wish, focus your intent onto the black sun. You set up your Christmas tree every year because it's showing you X marks the spot where every compass is pointing to. The Holy Grail is literally right over there. And we all need to get there before we're dead. So the best image you could have in your head right now would be something like this. You're inside the cube, inside the oblate spheroid on a flat earth plane. You're on the CD or E-creation disk of a black hole. And underneath the gridiron, the flat earth plane, is the black hole sun. There really is no way to screw this up, people. You bow your head in prayer towards the black sun. It's because from the black sun comes the Aurora Borealis, the astral jet. So it's one side of a light hole is a black hole with the green astral jet shooting out of the Holy of Holies at the center of the dish. We set up our Christmas trees with candy canes and the spiral lights, showing us that Jesus the Son goes round and round and round, spiraling in and spiraling out, bringing the seasons. There is no way to screw it up, people. Okay, the sun goes round and round and round, and there's your Christmas tree coming out of the Holy of Holies and the sun is the spiral lights going round and round and round. So the tip of the tree is pointing towards the pole star, and you see, I explain this better than anybody in many videos. So if you haven't seen any of these videos before, I recommend you get to my channel and catch up on reality. The moral of this video is that you're looking at the Holy Grail right now. All you need to do is get to that hole, drink from the living waters, and you become an astral super being. It's just like that. And you need to get there before you're dead. That's how it works, people. This is the biggest secret of all, that eternal life is right over there. At the end of your fucking compass. It's just that simple. There's no way to screw it up.
Looks forward to actual conversation with her cactus. Convinced that it possesses an intelligence, she is determined to teach it the Japanese alphabet.
Research conducted in the Soviet Union leads scientists to believe that plants may think. Attached to delicate electronic instruments, a cabbage plant registers annoyance to the exhaling of tobacco smoke on its leaf surfaces. A scene familiar in any kitchen takes on special importance in this experiment. In some mysterious way, the plant which is attached to the instrument is able to feel the mutilation of its comrade. In a more advanced experiment, technicians were asked to pass through a laboratory containing 2 living cabbage plants. One of the subjects has been instructed to destroy the plant which is not attached to the electronic instruments.
Like I said, plants are conscious.
Hours later, the technicians are asked to return to the scene of the crime. The evidence is clear. The remaining plant has correctly identified the assailant.
Hear that?
Since
Identified the murderer.
1959, the Academy of Sciences of the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics has advanced research for the application of automation and cybernetics in plant husbandry. Connected to electronic instrumentation, these plants express their wishes directly, without the need of human guidance. In agricultural centers of the future, plants will show themselves to be fully rational beings, controlling their intake of water and nutrients, and even regulating the temperature and humidity of their environment. We're just beginning to understand the language of plants. It is a difficult and fascinating road wherein a multitude of surprises await.
I started my work on plants in 1962 while I was an engineer in the aerospace industry. And at that time, it was one of our goals to develop jam-proof missile components. Now, after much experimentation, my attention turned to living plant material, in particular to plant leaves. As time went on, and I experimented with these various plants and plant leaves, I noted very unusual reaction patterns. Now, at that time, I thought that my equipment was defective. It did not occur to me that I was witnessing a profound consciousness in these living plants.
It's true. Put your bare feet on dry soil,
Nuts and bolts man,
right by big trees with the roots sticking out.
system, just for the specific purpose of
Plants will
finding
communicate
out
with
the
you.
truth about consciousness in plants.
The older the
To my
trees, the better.
surprise, it worked. There is indeed a consciousness in the plant kingdom.